being promoted is acceptable to both sides. And this is the only way to go. Africa is a huge opportunity for economic development. As a great people, I'm willing to partner for progress and development.
Back here in Nigeria, the pump price for premium motor spirits, also known as petrol, has been adjusted in petrol stations across the country. And the FCT petrol price ranges from 880 to 940 naira in various stations as residents worry over unavailability of the product. Helena Samade Akins reports.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited cried out that the burden of petrol price has pushed it into over $6 billion debt. It increased pump price at all petrol retail outlets from 670 naira to 897 naira per litre. The compliance to this price regime has been swift. Some fuel stations in the city centre now sell between 918 and 940 naira in spite of the scarcity of the products. Here at this petrol station, long queues have spilled into the major roads. Everyone is waiting for their turn to purchase PMS. Motorists outrightly condemn the sudden increase in the pump price of petrol, but it is even made worse by the manpower wasted in queues waiting to get products.
I'm now going to buy for a 60,000 to convey me to Jos. I'm a transporter. How much I will carry passenger? And not even the fuel tank, it's just to manage. Of which, since I have been driving for more than 30-something years, I never buy a fuel of 60,000. 60,000 is not for poor one. The passenger is angry, the driver is angry. If you have any issue for vehicle, you are nobody. It's too much.
I've spent like 3 hours here now. My car is still there at the back. This one is 918. It's 918 naira. Yeah.
The hike in the pump price coincides with the announcement the Dangote refinery have started refining petrol and ready to distribute products across the country. They urge the federal government to review the price downward, put measures in place to help Nigerians cushion the effects of the present economic situation. Helen Osamede Akins, TVC News, Abuja.
Let's take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to discuss banditry in northern Nigeria with Senator Shehu Sani. I'll be right back.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the facts, witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
We are TV Station of the Year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teachers.
Can't continue like this.
Their voices were echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything. If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
their tears, leave a sweet sour taste for all their demands. A familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Community Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
The month of September, it is dedicated to childhood cancer awareness. On the 8th of September is the International Literacy Day. On the 9th of September is the International Day to Protect Education.
Welcome back, everyone. Nigeria, and particularly northern Nigeria, faces a number of insecurity challenges. This insecurity takes various forms, including insurgency, terrorism, communal clashes, banditry, kidnapping, and piracy, fueled by socioeconomic, ethnic, and sometimes religious tensions. Northern Nigeria has a deep historical foundation of insecurity, especially insurgency led by Boko Haram and its offshoot ISWAP, resulting in a severe humanitarian crisis that has seen millions displaced and widespread destruction. Can there be an end to this? What can the government do to put an end to this menace? These are questions still begging for answers. Tonight, let's explore from the vast knowledge of Senator Shehu Sani, author, playwright, human rights activist, and politician. Senator, good evening to you, sir. Thank you for coming on Politics Tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start this conversation with your assessment of the security situation in Nigeria. Have we made any progress in this fight against banditry in the north? And having studied the approach of the service chiefs in the last 1 year, are you impressed with your strategies at tackling this monster?
Well, it is important first that we recognize the fact that banditry in the northwest and terrorism in the northeastern part of Nigeria is not something that started in the last 10, 12, or 13 months. This has been a product of years of failure by successive administrations in this country. And now a monster is created in the northern part of Nigeria. Bandits picking up arms, kidnapping people, killing people, raping women, raising communities, extorting ransom, destroying our agricultural base, kidnapping our students, and shutting down our schools. The point is, where do we come from? The last 8 years will have been an opportunity to address this problem, but the last government failed to do that, despite billions of naira pumped into defense and security apparatus of the state. The fact is that banditry is still going on, terrorism is still going on, but it is now far better than we used to have it in the past. And I can prove this fact. In the last 1 year, there have been attacks on 3 schools in the north, one in Kaduna and one Arabic school in Zamfara and then in Sokoto State. But if you look at what had happened from 2015 to 2023, attacks on schools from Dapchi, the Government Science College Kagara, the Government Secondary School Kankara, to University, Greenfield University in Kaduna, Bethel Baptist High School in Kaduna, Federal Government Girls College, Yauri, and so on and so forth, Jengibe, and so many places. Now, there is some form of security in our schools in the north. And I am conducting this interview from Kaduna, and I know very well that in 8 years, from 2015 to 2023, kidnappings along Kaduna-Abuja Road was almost a daily affair. Sometimes it is even done 3 to 4 times in the same period of time. But now people at least can drive from Kaduna to Abuja, and the incidents of kidnapping there are very few. But that does not remove the fact that kidnappings and killings are still going on. But I think one of the reasons for this has to do with the very fact that this issue of banditry and terrorism has been allowed for a very long time to fester. All strategy that has been used has not actually produced results, for the very fact that the people, the masses of the people in the rural areas and those in the fringes of the cities that ought to have been the backbone of the fight against terrorism were actually not fully engaged. There is nowhere in the whole part of the north where bandits would operate without the knowledge of the locals. These locals are not from Mali, they are not from Congo. These Fulani bandits in the northwestern part of Nigeria, they are our people, they come from us, they are from our region, and everyone knows who they are. So the point is that you need to use the people to be able to get over this banditry. It's very important. Intelligence gathering is very important. Use of technology is very important, because things that
Senator Shehu, Sani, can you hear me? You know, the conversation about whether or not these bandits are our people is very subjective, because we've heard Governor Caleb Mothwang say that on different occasions he has said that these bandits are foreign mercenaries. But because, I mean, a lot of times you've consistently said when it comes to insecurity, governors can do more than talking. But these days it's either the accused traditional rulers and local authorities have collaborated with the bandits to cause mayhem among innocent citizens, or they blame military personnel for what they call their lackadaisical attitude. But because you're here tonight, when you say governors can do more than talking, what exactly are they not doing right, Senator? Senator Shehu, Sani, did you get my question? All right. Senator, did you get that question?
I get the question, and I'm going to answer it. Can you hear me well?
All right, sir. Please go ahead.
Now, I didn't exclude the fact that there are some elements of foreign presence in the banditry and terrorism going on. But let's look at it, and I speak with facts. Bello Turji is a known bandit and criminal. He operates in Sokoto and Zamfara State. He's from Sokoto. Alero is from Zamfara State. Kachalla moves within Kaduna and Niger State. Baleri is all from Kaduna State and operates also within part of Zamfara. These are known kingpins and terrorists who are all from northern part of Nigeria. I have never heard of any name of any terrorists that come from Mali or Zambia or Namibia. All of them are people, and the locals know who they are. So I think it is time for us to own up to the reality of what we need to do. And this problem is particularly the North. Northern leaders must sit down, must come out with a strategy that will involve the locals in tackling this problem. Because the point is that nobody is going to come to the northern part of Nigeria and invest money when people are being kidnapped and ransom is being paid. Look at what happened in Kaduna, say, in the last few years, before 2023. Bethel Baptist, when it was attacked and students were kidnapped, Bethel Baptist High School, the parents had to sell everything they had, go into debt, beg, gather money, and pay kidnappers. Now, this is all what is going on in the country. There are communities where you can't even go to your farms. You have to pay levies and fines to bandits in order to... And people who say they should dialogue with these bandits, dialogue has been going on, ransom has been paid, but they still go back to their acts of criminality. I think it is time for us, if nations like Algeria, that is almost twice the size of Nigeria, can protect their borders, if countries that like Congo can protect their country, if countries like Morocco and Tunisia can all protect their country, the land borders, there is no reason why we should not be able to do it. And the question people used to ask is because, people say is because of poverty. There is poverty in Niger Republic, and they don't have the banditry we have. There is poverty in Benin Republic. People are not engaged in banditry. There is poverty in Chad. There is poverty in Cameroon. So it's not the reason for people picking up arms to start killing people and extorting ransom. It is a fact that our security agencies need to engage the people so that we can do away with these bandits. If you calculate the whole number of these bandits that operate in northwestern part of Nigeria, they're not up to 5,000. Why can't we go after them and bring this into an end for once and for all?
But Senator, when you look at this latest strategy by government, the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale, and the military chiefs have arrived to Sokoto State as part of efforts to rid the state and the entire northwest of rampant banditry. What does it mean to you? Does it go down well with you? Because security experts have said this development has its pros and cons. But from your own end, does it represent a clear understanding of the strategy needed to wipe out these bandits? Especially because President Buhari also adopted the same strategy.
Well, the difference between that of Buhari and now is that there are results. And I know there are prominent terrorists and bandits that operate in the north. In the last 12 months, they have been eliminated. And I know perhaps for human rights reasons, government do not also want to show, or security agencies don't want to show the corpses of things like that. But actually, I can confirm that progress has been made. Now, President Buhari at a certain time too has ordered his service chiefs to move to the center of the crisis, the violence and the terrorism. And now it happens, but this is the first time it's now happening. So we hope that the presence of Chief of Defense Staff and Minister of State of Defense in Sokoto State will bring an end to Turji and his gang, because Turji is the known gang, the known criminal that has been operating within that zone and with reckless abandon until we get him out, before we'll have peace in Sokoto, Zamfara, and Kebbi State. Because it's as if they have mapped out the areas for them to operate. Turji operates within Sokoto, Zamfara, and Kebbi. Kachela is operating within Naja and Kaduna. Alero between Katsina and Zamfara. So until you get down all these people, before the attacks going on even in the north-central part of Nigeria is coordinated by these bandits in the northwest. Sometimes when a person is kidnapped in Kaduna,
do you think they should be in Sokoto or Zamfara states? Because there is this argument about whether or not Sokoto is the epicenter. Why should they be in Sokoto state and not Zamfara state? What's your own argument?
Well, as long as they are within those three states, whether it's Sokoto, Zamfara, or Kebbi, they are still operating within that axis. Even if it's Niger state, all that should be that they should be northwestern. Where banditry is taking place, and they are there now, and we hope and lead way for this country.
All right, let's talk about another very critical matter. You know, bandits and terrorists in northern Nigeria are now effectively using social media, and their favorite app is TikTok. I mean, these bandits offer to render financial assistance to followers on TikTok. It's obviously clear that TikTok platform has given room for insurgents to promote their campaign of terror without being restricted. And I remember that in one of your tweets, you said social media apps wouldn't allow this in other countries. Aren't we in a bigger problem?
Yeah, I think it is time also people should ask questions, and I believe they are also asking. Many are asking that question. You can't get a SIM card and use it without it being registered. And in the 21st century technology, there is no way you can use a SIM card without you being detected by satellites either within or outside the country. So the question we should ask the NCC, how will bandits be using these SIM cards with all the hoopla about being registered with NIN, with BVN, with all those things now? Millions and hundreds of billions were spent. And then terrorists are using the social media platform. You can't use the social media platform if you are not connected through network. So the question which the NCC should be able to answer is, why should all these things here be happening? Is it that they provide information to security agencies about the movement of these bandits through their SIM cards and the security agency is not utilizing it, or what actually is the problem? I think these are all issues we need to, because they have become more daring, or more confident, more audacious now in their acts. They made videos in the past. Terrorist groups in the northeastern part of Nigeria, they cover their faces and now record videos and then send out the content. But the bandits in the northwest are not even putting masks. They are open and they say, here we are. And you can see the vegetation, where they are even operating. So you ask questions that agencies of government that have been paid with taxpayers' money, seeing all these things happening. And then I also ask the social media app, you can't be a TikTok in any of European countries or any of Northern American countries and see someone brandishing weapons, even shooting people, and then you are allowing him to use your own app to send messages outside. Such things don't happen in other countries. And I think it is also time for us to bring to the notice of these companies, these tech firms, that there is the need for decorum, that our national security is involved, and such people should not be granted some kind of publicity, because social media now has become so available for them to even recruit people into their own fold and to also send messages of threats to people. So this has to be addressed, and NCC has to give us a clear explanation on why we should register SIM card and link it up with NIN and Vivian and all those things here. And these things are happening and nobody is doing anything about it.
But what challenge has this posed to Nigeria's intelligence agency? Do you think there's a weak link to the functionality of our intelligence agencies?
Well, I don't know how intelligence agencies operate. But to me, as a layman, if we have 35 villages from Kaduna to Abuja, and I don't see the reason why any of these villages there should be no presence of an ununiformed security agent. And there is no reason why people should not be paid to provide information to security agencies. And bandits pay people to give them information. They also pay people to help them to succeed. So if they can do that, we should also be able to do that. And people should also understand that there is a difference between the banditry in the northwest and the banditry in the northeastern part of Nigeria. The northeastern part of Nigeria, terrorism, people are Islamist jihadists who use Islam, picking up arms with the hope that their struggle will usher in a theocratic Islamist state in Nigeria. But the bandits in the northwestern part of Nigeria are being driven by money. They simply kidnap, and then they collect money, and then they release their victims. And if they are not being paid, they kill their victims. So that is the way they operate. That is why we will see that some hostages, when they are taken by Islamists, no money can get them out because they have their own ideological agenda. But the bandits here, they are there for money. And that is why there is no settlement, there is no peace talks with people who have turned kidnapping into business that will bring an end to kidnapping, because they have been used to collecting hundreds of millions. And these things are operating in our very time, before our very eyes.
Okay, because you've talked about money, Senator, is there a place for how protection payments to militias have escalated conflicts in the north, especially in communities where resistance occurs, when a community pays a militia to protect them? And I'm asking that question because kidnapping has become more lethal. And according to a recent report released by Gobert Development Association, reporting that Sokoto communities paid 160 billion naira ransoms and levies to bandits. Will kidnapping for ransom ever be eliminated? Should the law prohibit paying ransom to kidnappers, as suggested by the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru?
Well, you see, the dilemma of this issue is that if you pay ransom, you have provided them enough resources to buy more arms and to go for other hostages. And if you refuse to pay ransom, you will sacrifice the life of the hostages that are with them. But the question is, why are bandits not operating in Niger Republic? Why are they not operating in Benin Republic? The point and the fact, or the truth of the matter, is that the communities there, the locals there, don't give a room for that. If you see any stranger within the area you live, you make reports. And when you make reports, the security agencies immediately respond to that. So here is not the case. The people are more or less safer when they identify with the bandits because the bandits protect them than when they do with security agencies that they may be exposed and at a certain time there may not be a rapid response to rescue them. So the people are in between the security agencies and the bandits. And now winning the people will be winning the war against banditry, which has to be done by all means possible.
Senator, another very worrisome conversation is we've seen bandits surrender their arms after negotiations with state governments. Some of these bandits swore the Holy Quran and went back to their vomit after a few months. What is majorly responsible for that? Would you say the peace deals negotiated so far are badly flawed? Why should we continue to grant amnesty to bandits?
It is laughable when I see people taking bandits by their own words. A man who kills, who rapes, who collects ransom, who has been shedding the blood of innocent people, and then you say he swore by the Holy Quran, and then you believe it. How will that ever work in a society? Let me give you a typical example. There was a time in Burdengwari local government, Kaduna State, where the people sat down with the terrorists or the bandits and agreed that there should be no banditry. The bandits make demands that they should give you so trailers of grain and so amount of money. They paid them, they gave them the trailers of grains, and they paid them money. And the bandits withdrew for 1 week. On the 8th day, they returned back. For such a person who has been shedding the blood of innocent people, you think you can sit down with him and agree at a certain point? It is virtually impossible. The war must be taken to their own land, to their own death, to their own camps. That is how it's supposed to be done. This country has the resources. We have the military. We have the experience to be able to achieve these things here. There's no reason why we should not be able to achieve. Nigeria is not as large as China. It's not as large as Russia. We can achieve that. Our army, our DSS, our police, our civil defense must work out a form. This is a challenge of our era. This is a challenge of our time. This is the struggle which we need to do. It's a survival game. It's as important as the survival of the country. And we cannot also underrate or demean the effort of security agencies and the military. If not for the military, most of us who are now, even me conducting this interview, it couldn't have been possible. But I can say that we have been achieving some level of progress in the last 12 months, but more needs to be done, and the people have to be involved.
Right. But, Senator, let me quickly tweak that question for the purpose of those who think granting amnesty to bandits has worked in one way or another, because I'm very concerned about how you think we must continue to empower local communities to take ownership of their recovery. How do you think government must ensure these people do not take up these arms again? Is it realistic?
You see, these bandits, if you are privileged to watch their videos, you will see that they have been shedding the bloods of innocent people, and they are neck deep in it. And the idea of bringing them to the civil society, to the people, is a very risky adventure. We have seen how terrorists were being granted amnesty, even given some kaftan to wear, and being presented before the television, and they swore to an oath that they have changed. The next day, they start killing innocent persons. I mean, if those of them who actually want to repent and have actually repented, then they should be used to fight those who refuse to repent. That's how you're supposed to do it, not to bring them to other innocent persons and they started showing their own colors. So to me, I don't think these people are ready to repent. We have to go all out with the might of the state to be able to crush them. Technology is there. How can you tell me that 50, 100 people in a motorcycle will be moving from Zamfara to Kaduna and Niger State on a bike, and we don't have any means of knowing that these people are moving? Come to these villages. They know when these bandits are passing, but nobody will pick phone and call any security agency because of fear of them being exposed. So you have to win the people before you be able to win this war against banditry. It's very important.
So, I mean, you've always said that partnership remains key in fighting insecurity. I'm wondering, do you still stand on that, Senator? And let's be clear, do you exactly mean that Nigeria needs foreign support in fighting banditry and terrorism?
Well, you see, this is the 21st century. Our security strategy should not be one of manning checkpoints and flashing torchlights on the faces of driver and say, on the inner light and open your boot. You can't fight any banditry within that kind of archaic strategy. You need technology. If we are going to involve the foreign agencies or foreign governments to help us, should be in the area of information, because you need information. If these bandits are moving from Kontagora area in Niger State and coming to Kaduna State, they don't move in 102. They move in droves of 50, 100. So information needs to be provided to security agencies, and then they should be attacked. This idea of saying that until we get directives to attack is not simply helping us. If you go to Niger East, almost half of the villages in Niger East local government there have been driven out or displaced from their own homes because of the activities of these bandits. The governors are overwhelmed. They can make contributions to security agencies, but the most important thing we need to do is that these vigilantes, these self-help groups from the masses of the people, from the peasantries and the masses who are determined to volunteer, they need to be trained, they need to be armed to go after these bandits because they don't know the vegetation more than the locals that are in those areas.
But would you support the call for a total rejig of the security architecture of the country?
This architecture, we have been talking of it for so many times, for many years now. Always architecture. Whether you're talking of architecture or not, the point is that we have an army, we have a police, we have a DSS, we have civil defense, we have all sorts of security agencies that are there and are well funded by our. I believe that they can win this battle against banditry. What is needed for them to do is to get information and act immediately. Because this thing is only happening within the borders of Nigeria. I know terrorists do attack military camps in Mali, in Burkina Faso, in Niger Republic, but this banditry specifically is happening in northern part of Nigeria. And we can defeat them. We can win over this battle, but security agencies must work together and pay. If they need to pay locals to get information, they have to pay locals. If you need to use one rival group against another, you have to use one rival group against another. That is my own idea of how this issue can actually be tackled, yes.
All right. I mean, you're asking the National Assembly to revisit the Firearms Act. Do you think we must now begin to amend the obsolete Firearms Act to align with global best practices? Is this capable of addressing the problem of proliferation of weapons?
You see, we have to be very careful because as a society where you have everyone can easily go to a shop and buy guns, I don't think in our country there will be a country if we allow that in the next. Because actually everyone will go and get a gun. And what comes out of it? The point is very simple. If there are 20 villages in Zamfara state where you have banditry, bring the youths from those states and put them into the security apparatus of the state and return them back to these places to act. That is my own idea of how things work. And if people are going to be armed, there should be, we should have what is called in socialist term, what we call a people's war. There should be a people's war. the people of these rural communities must end this war and go after these bandits. These bandits, you see that 50 of them holding 1,000 people hostage. So how would that ever happen? There must be a people, the rural communities must take up arms against these bandits for us to get this thing over. This idea of saying bring them to the table and sit down, these are criminals. These are people who have shed so much blood that there is nothing you can do for them other than to avenge the blood of people whom they have shed. This is how we have to go over this thing here. And I believe the military, the police, and other security agencies should be able to do it. And thanks to Ribadu for the fact that since he assumed office, he is one national security advisor. I have been seeing him going to where the bandits are, where the areas of operation are also working. He's been doing his best. And the service chiefs too, I can see some result. But we need more and more because this issue is becoming as important as the survival of our country.
Senator, let's take a break. And when we come back, we will continue with this conversation. Please stay with us, everyone.
Good morning, Marina Station and all the passengers. Efficient, it's comfortable.
This development will go a long way in reducing congestion and emission.
The trains are a long-term solution to Lagos traffic challenges.
This is where we take the final, decisions on policies, programs of government. I will have to ensure that, the narration of Lagos as a PLC is taken very, very seriously.
This is a major pedestrian bridge linking Oyinbo here to Apapa Road over there.
With this overpass, we are providing what we call a permanent solution.
This place is one of the most dangerous areas at the biosecurity environment.
This can go into the news and every crumbs of your neighborhood.
Our goal is to remain as Africa's model megacity, to move our GDP from the 5-6 position to the 3rd position, and we believe it's achievable with all the commitments we have.
Explore the city of Lagos, where dreams are made and possibilities are endless. Amadedoja Salamadini. I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. I've been speaking with Senator Shehu Sani, author, playwright, human rights activist, and politician. And tonight we're focused on banditry in northern Nigeria. Senator, thanks a lot for staying with us on the program. I want us to talk about accountability in the security sector. But before then, from your own perspective, why has it been difficult for the top leaders of these bandits to be caught and executed? Is this a matter of the judicial system?
Well, like I've said, I knew very well that there were successes in terms of eliminating these bandits in the battlefield, the bandits leaders in the battlefield. But like I've said also earlier, I knew that government or security agencies are being very careful when it comes to the human rights aspect of it. Because when people see corpses of people that have been killed by bandits, everyone knows that this is a criminal act by a bandit. But if security agencies will display corpses of people bandits who are killed by operational methods, there will be doubts that will be raised that these are perhaps innocent people and that government security agencies have acted out of without respect for human rights. So I knew that they are operating within this thin line. That is that aspect of it. But in the area of prosecution, I think it is high time that we create perhaps a special court for these terrorists, where they will be bandits, where they can be arraigned and then addressed within that level of judicial exclusivity. So I think it is very important that we do that, because when you allow them to move through the normal judicial system, it takes a long time for such things to happen. And at the end of the day, there may even be political pressure here and there for them to be released. And some say, some have repented that they are ready to change. But all these problems can be addressed if we can make that specific reform, so that these courts will be specifically for terrorists and bandits, and then action can now be taken on them. And proactively, within our own states, we can also do the most we can. We're conducting this interview in Kaduna State, but I know that in 2015 to 2023, it has not been easy for most people who are living even in the outskirts of the state. Many pensioners who bought lands and built houses outside outskirts of the state now have to sell their house and then move into the center of the city and go to rent. The last time these terrorists attacked a primary school in Kuriga, it takes the wisdom of the governor of the state, over Sani. Within 7 to 8 days, there was intervention, and they got them released. This is not something that has been happening in the past. So there are some appreciable record of successes.
Criminal gangs carrying out mass kidnappings.
As well armed, as well determined they are, we also have to be as more ahead of them in order for us to win this battle.
Senator, you know, there are those questioning the level of accountability in the security sector, because in recent years, defense spending in Nigeria has been on the increase. It's now superior to other sectors of the economy. I mean, in the 2024 budget, 12% of the total budget went to defense and security. That's the largest single allocation to any sector. But some have blamed this persistent insecurity on corruption and the lack of accountability from those appointed to execute defense budgets, especially the military. So do you also question this level of accountability in the security sector, especially with how banditry has evolved? Senator, can you hear me? Did you get that question?
Can you hear me? Yes, I can. I get your question.
Okay.
Can I answer it?
Yes, please go ahead.
All right. If we go back to what happened in the past, there was a chief of army staff, the person of General Tahiru, who died as a result of a plane crash in Kaduna. When he took office, he said he met nothing, and that his troops are complaining of no money, no welfare, no food. Those in the front line have been deprived of what is due for them. And this was after we, as National Assembly, approved hundreds of billions for defense.
Senator Shehu, Sani.
Security, particularly the military budgets in Nigeria. I think, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Please go ahead.
Yeah, military or security budget is one of the well-funded budgets. It's maybe second to INEC or other agencies of government. We knew that at a certain time during Buhari regime, he even circumvented due process and gave out contract for the importation of Tucano jets to Nigeria. And unfortunately, we also had it. One of the former Minister of Finance said it, that apart from money she approved within the budget, there are also the army chiefs there at that time also go to the president with a file for them to approve some money for them that is even outside of the budget. So I don't think finance is the problem for our security agencies. Corruption is actually the problem, because I can't see a situation where the budget of the military or security agencies is almost funded to 95%, and then those who are on the front line are complaining of being underfed and being underarmed. You ask yourself, where is all this money going? The budget of Niger Republic and Chad and Cameroon and Benin Republic is less than the half of the budget of Nigerian army or Nigerian security agencies, but they don't have the problems which we're having. So even
Senator,
pumping money
and that reminds me, because you've talked about corruption, that reminds me of an incident that happened in July. The Senate rejected a prayer by Senator Adams Oshiomhole seeking a probe of the funds allegedly appropriated to the military in the past to fight insurgency and banditry across the country. The Red Chamber kicked against investigation into the purchase of a yacht and establishment of universities allegedly built with funds appropriated for the military and the hometowns of some past service chiefs in order to prevent future occurrences. And I'm definitely sure you heard about that story. Does it bother you that the motion was denied?
You see, as a pedestrian or a layman, when you talk of funding the military, I think of the money will be used to pay to buy aircrafts, to buy guns, to buy armored rocket launchers, and all those things. But when money that should go for the purchase of arms and ammunition, and also for the welfare of the military, is now being used to build hotels, to build event centers, to build shopping malls, to build universities, then you see the military has got into business. Nowadays, that is where you see it does all over the country. So Army Event Center, so Army Hotel, Command Hotel, so this shopping mall, Powa, Moa, Owa, Nawa. You see, we can't fight. We need money to be able to buy arms to fight these insurgents. All these Noah, Powa, Moa, shopping malls and event centers is virtually not taking us to anywhere. We need arms to fight these bandits. The level of weapons these people are using to fight, our military even doesn't have it. The last time I was driving with my daughter in the front of my car, he saw a policeman with a sellotape. He was asking if sellotape is part of the weapons, part of the guns that our own police are using, because they gun without sellotape. So if this is the way we want to fight banditry, I think we have a long way to go. Money that should be used for security and defense should be directed to security and defense and not for other things.
All right, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I must appreciate your robust perspective on this very crucial matter. And we hope that very soon banditry, terrorism become a thing of the past in this great country. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I've been speaking with Senator Shehu Sani, author, playwright, human rights activist, and politician. Thank you so much for your time tonight, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at midnight. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and on Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke.
Following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV.
Tired of pans that scratch and stick? Or cookware that takes up valuable space in your kitchen? Introducing ShopX Gotham Hammered Copper Collection, the perfect cookware to upgrade your cooking experience. The Gotham Hammered Copper Collection features a super durable ultra non-stick surface. Eggs stick to other pans, but with the Hammered Copper Collection, they slide right out. Incredible! It's oven safe, up to 500 degrees. Any recipe can be made in these pans. And then it wipes clean with ease. Make mouth-watering jollof rice or even fluffy pounder with ease. Because nothing sticks.
I know the folk like to keep up with me. The Gotham Hammered collection has been a game changer. No more burnt meals or hours spent scrubbing pots.
Proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
The month of September, it is dedicated to childhood cancer awareness. On the 8th of September is the International Literacy Day. On the 9th of September is the International Day to Protect Education from Attack. The 10th of September is the World Suicide Prevention Day, while on the 11th of September is the remembrance of the bombing of the World Trade Center in the United States, popularly known as the 9/11. On the 15th of September is the International Day of Democracy. On the 16th of September is the International Day for the Preservation of the Ozone Layer. The 21st of September is the International Day of Peace. The 23rd of September is the International Day of Sign Languages. The 26th of September is the World Maritime Day and the International Day for the Total Elimination of Nuclear Weapons. On the 27th of September is the World Tourism Day. On the 29th of September is the World Heart Day. Stay tuned to TVC News for this reports and analysis.
TVC News, first with breaking news.
The Inspector General of Police has met with senior officers to review the state of security.
We are continuing our coverage of the arrest of Godwin Emefiele.
The Senate has summoned the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria to properly brief the Senate regarding the state of the economy.
What I will never take is threat.
Let's now bring you more development from Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, where an explosion has taken place. Tell us about this incident.
TVC News, first with breaking news. At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.